We now have 2 Supercars weekends under our belt in our young Supercars career. Hello everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of our Supercars career mode round 3, or week 3, races 5 and 6 coming to you today. And we're in Perth here from the Barbagallo circuit. Very exciting racetrack coming your way. It's a high speed, pretty straightforward circuit as you can see on the track map. We're coming into this race 16th in the standings, 144 points back from Mark Winterbottom, who's had a heck of a start to the season. No wins, but he's had a lot of consistency. We saw a lot of rain in Topo in the last episode really spice things up, and we saw a few surprise winners in the process. I say a few, only one, Cameron Hill. Brock Feeney was the other winner. We've had all new winners in the first 4 races. Now, a commenter mentioned in the last episode that I could actually go in and manually change the ratings of the drivers. I had no idea I could do that in the content manager of Assetto Corsa. Thank you for letting me know, and I can confirm I have done that coming into this episode, so we can get a bit more of an accurate representation of the grid here in Supercars and who should be running well, who shouldn't here now as we roll through into qualifying, taking you guys on my fastest lap around this Barbagallo circuit. Now, there's been some rumors in real life that the potential for a street race in Perth is still alive, but personally, I don't see a point when we have this fantastic racetrack right here, as I have to navigate around one of the Penrite machines right there and actually getting a little bit of damage on the rear end. They still have the New Zealand livery, but I wanted to keep it on since it's a 2024 livery, and the other one would have been a 2023 option here. But you get down into second gear here, and then you go back up through the gears. Try to not slip the rear end out too much. You have this long bank straightaway. You're going to get up to 5th gear. You could go for 6th gear if you want, but we're going to get up towards midway of that that 5th gear, and then we'll shift back down to 2nd. You could go down to 1st right here, but that's only really if you want to get the car to rotate, and it was rotating okay. So to the line, back up through the gears. What is it going to be? P3. We will start Perth in P3. We will absolutely take that. Will Davison on pole. Kostecki there in 2nd, just off. We're a couple tenths off there. As you see the rest of the order, our teammate Jay Cook down in P12, and at the back of the grid was Richie Stanaway.
Okay, mate, great qualifying effort earlier. Let's stay up here today.
We're ready to roll from race 1. Davison, Kostecki front row, myself and James Golding make up row 2 as this lights out. We're racing Supercars in Perth, and it's not a good start off the grid for myself. Chaz Mostert up the inside into turn number 1. Will be wheel to wheel with him. You got a fellow rookie in the background there. That's Love as well. Kostecki's teammate Jack LeBrock there just behind us. He's battling with Aaron Love as well, as we're going to settle in behind Chaz Mostert here. Let things kind of play out for these opening few moments. Get comfortable with the car. We've made some mistakes so far in our rookie season, and hopefully we can avoid doing that here today, as now Mostert runs out a little bit wide but keeps it within the racing lines here now. So we drop down to 5th after starting 3rd. Just didn't get off the line very well, as now here comes Love up my inside, showing the nose as well, and I'm struggling to get these tires up to temperature and get this thing rolling now as you continue to watch us fade down the order down to P6 as we're going to try and slide in behind that blue Ford Mustang. But on the exit of the final turn, Love ahead, and now Jack LeBrock, Brock Feeney both filling up the rear view mirror as we start this 2nd lap. And watch that mirror, you can see Feeney now getting after it, and he's going to move through into P7 as we dive one up the inside here of Aaron Love into the right-hander. Now it's a little bit of a downhill braking zone, so there's a really good opportunity for you to kind of do that right there. Just get aggressive, send it up the inside, but I didn't quite get to pounce on it as much as I was hoping there, so we maintain P6 for the rest of this lap, starting lap 3, and this battle with Love continues on here now. But nice fair and square battle right here. No contact. We're just kind of keeping it keeping him honest here and making sure he doesn't make a mistake as he goes out a little bit wide right there, looking for an open door now as he shuts it on the apex, hits the curb, and of course nearly loses it. Now we would continue side by side into the braking zone, but now we're going to push out a little bit wide. Here comes Brock Feeney up the inside, so we're going to lose another position now as Feeney, winner from last episode in Topo, in the rain conditions, of course, that we saw in both races. Of course, race 2 was a lot of rain. Race 1 was more of a sprinkle. Didn't really affect the racing long circuit, but Feeney's going to go through and take the position now. LeBrock just behind, and Feeney's teammate as well as Will Brown settling into the top 10. Currently fastest lap, Brody Kostecki. And if you look at the track map, Kostecki is driving away from everybody. I mean, second from Will Davison all the way down through the rest of the top 10s right here together. And speaking of top 10, our teammate Jay Cook started outside of the top 10. He's now into the top 10. So a great run for him as we continue on. And you can see everyone just clumped together right here. Some great racing, actually. Back and forth positions shuffling behind us are going at it between LeBrock and Brown. And you can see now Feeney going to try and get the pass on Aaron Love. And as they came through the final turn, Love keeps it sticking around the outside as these battles continue really all around the circuit. Now Feeney now on the left side of Love, who's on the right. Will Brown's completed the pass briefly now on LeBrock as I continue to try and put some pressure on Love, but it just wasn't quite working out. As now in the background I see Jay Cook's into the mix, and actually he's going to try and take it 3 wide here briefly. No, just 2 wide. He's in the grass. Right side tires in the grass. Now they're 3 wide into turn 1 on the far left. That's LeBron contact between Cook and Brown, but he gets through. What a move from the fellow rookie, and of course season opening winner in Bathurst. Cook has had a heck of a start to his rookie season. Trackhouse Racing, our team, of course, has had a heck of a start, and we're going to have a team update coming here in the next episode, actually, just to kind of touch bases with our team owner of Justin Marks. Feeney lock up nearly into the side of Chaz Mostert, and as myself, I'm going to pounce on it, and we're going to be able to pass Aaron Love, but we actually kick out the rear end, so that's a pass gone wrong, and we drop back down to P7, and now here comes Cook, our fellow Trackhouse rookie now on this 2-car team, of course, is going to lunge one up my left side into this final turn, and Cook is, well, quite literally cooking, and he goes around my outside, and we drop down to P8, so from 3rd to 8th so far in this race. Not exactly what I wanted. Now, when it comes to fuel, you can nearly go the whole race on a full tank of fuel here for 25 laps, but you can't quite make it. So we do have to make 1 pit stop, but you don't need to take a lot of fuel as we go side by side with Cook, who comes across our nose, and we make contact, 2 bits of contact there with our teammate, and we slip and slide on the exit. Appreciate it, teammate.
Let him know that was not intentional, please.
And you hear Cook's radio after my response as well, and I did get the message realizing that was not on purpose here. Now as we're wheel to wheel now with Jack LeBronc after that little slip and slide, and now contact with LeBronc. He's coming into the pit, so he was cutting across on my rear end and trying to get in, and multiple cars are pitting as well, so not just LeBronc as Cam Waters, Will Brown fill up my rear view mirror, but they're all into their pit boxes now. Deep Pasquale Macaulay Jones as well, and that Wendy's machine, they're all coming in, so pit stops kicking off here, and we're not far out here. Here's the thing though, I was talking about fuel, then we got caught up in those battles. So if you start this race with not a lot of fuel, you have to take a good chunk of fuel at your pit stop, and you're going to spend a lengthy amount of time in the pits. However, if you fill that tank up at the start, you have to take quite a bit less towards the end of the race, and you will give up some time earlier in the race due to the fact that you're going to have a heavier car. Where I started this race with less fuel, we have a lighter car, and it hasn't quite translated into what I was hoping. We get the pass done though on Jay Cook. We pass him back, but hold on, this teammate battle continues. The American up the inside of the Canadian here as we exit this final turn, and Cook is not going to give it up easy, even though we had that contact. I'm going to actually run him a little bit over there towards the grass now on the run towards turn 1. Cam Waters into the pits as well. He'll make his first and only stop of the day. We continue side by side with Cook, but he gets clear on the exit of turn 1 back down to P8 here, and now my fuel indicator is on the bottom of the screen. You see it flashing, you see it up on the top left as well, just a little warning light. Kostecki pits from the lead, but he's had such a massive gap that it doesn't really matter. He's going to complete his pit stop, and he's going to cycle back through into the lead. We're going to pit at the end of the lap, but like I said, we started this race with not a lot of fuel and didn't make up or get away from anybody, so I'm concerned about how this is going to go. I think we're actually going to lose quite a bit of track position because of how long we're going to spend in the pit box, and I think we've made a mistake. We will take no tires here, so it's just going to be fuel only. We can make it to the end of these tires, but look at this. Yeah, Thomas Randall would get into his pit box and get out of his pit box before I was ever able to go. We have definitely made a poor decision on starting this race with not very much fuel, so we had to pit on lap 15. There's Jack LeBronc, and I think he's in a similar boat. If you pitted started early, you're in a similar boat to what we are in, and you're seeing LeBlanc with that situation as well. Will Davison now into the pits, and he will give up the front position. James Golding, Brock Feeney, Jay Cook now move into the top 3, but they all still have to pit. But we just completely sabotage ourselves and are not going to have a chance at the top 10. We learned for race 2. We know we need to fill it up, but you can see us putting some pressure on the back of Randall. Thomas Randall showing no pace. It's not been a great season there for Randall, but he's not going to make it easy on me to pass him. But in that final turn, this is where we should be able to get him. We continue wheel to wheel. Hold on. It's still not over. We continue on the run of the exit of the final turn into turn number 1, and now we should be able to complete the pass. Actually, a bit of a door bang on him. He continues on the left side, but finally, as we head up the little elevation right here, we'll get clear into only P19. Jay Cook now into the pits. Our Trackhouse Racing teammate Feeney and Golding as well are into the pits, and you're going to see they put about 65 or so liters of fuel in their cars, so that will be enough to make it to the end. And as everything has eventually cycled out, everyone's now made their pit stops. They're coming out just behind Nick Percat in 18th place. That tells you how bad we screwed up by putting not as much fuel in at the start of the race, and now we just passed Percat easily. But yeah, we're only P18. We are quick. We can run down the cars in front. We are about 3.4 seconds back from the group in front of us with 6 laps to go. Brody Kostecki has an absolutely massive lead over the field right now. He is long gone down the road. Nobody has anything for him. Look at that in the distance. You see nobody. Will Davison's just now coming through turn 1. James Golding, a great day for him in 3rd. Feeney 4th. Cook in 5th. Of course, a great season for Jay Cook as a rookie as well. And you look a little bit further back in the top 10. You got Mostert there just behind Love, Will Brown as well in the top 10, and then a little bit further back, David Reynolds and Cam Waters. Ryan Wood a little bit further down the order. You see this big group of cars that I am now closing in on as we go down into turn 1. 5 laps to go. You got Tim Slade just in front of us here as we're putting together some good lap times, and I'm just disappointed because we threw away a top 10, and we're gonna, I think, be able to rebound to a respectable result here as we slip and slide again on the exit of the right-hander. But yeah, I mean, we are clearly deserving of a top 10, and we've at least learned for race 2. We know we have speed. We qualified 3rd. We were putting up a good pace, not a good enough pace to be in the top 3 after qualifying there, but definitely something competitive as we approach 3 laps to go. To the back of Andre Heimgartner now. This is for P16. To the left side we'll go. Matt Payne just in front of us as well. We'll dive one around the outside of Heimgartner into the corner. And now you can see the 2 Penrite New Zealand inspired liveries were briefly side by side. But Payne and Stanaway continue 14th, 15th as we'll settle in behind them. But I would actually get past Payne and go around his outside and dive one around the outside of his teammate as well of Richie Stanaway. And we'll get past him into turn 1 around the outside now of Bryce Fullwood. This is to put us into the 13th position and just showcasing the speed of this Trackhouse Camaro. It is fast here this weekend in Perth. White flag already in the air. 25 laps of racing here in Perth, and we'll go around the outside of Fullwood again. Can't quite make the pass happen. We got one really good chance right here into turn number 1 though. White flag in the air finally for us here into this first turn side by side, but we've dove in deep. We slide. The rear end kicks around, and we've gone round off the track into the gravel. I am so stupid. I'm so sorry. I just threw that away. You hear us on the radio. As that was happening, we get on track. Brody Kostecki's already rounding the final turn in dominant fashion from start to finish, leading the way. Kostecki gets his first top 10 of the season, his first win in his return to the Erebus Racing team. As you can see, Will Davison will be P2, Golding, Feeney 3rd and 4th. Cook will bring it home in 5th. And unfortunately for us, 21st is what it's going to be, rounding the final turn. An embarrassing day, to say the least here. Nothing quite worked out, and it was, well, unfortunately for me, all of my own doing. So Brody Kostecki picks up the win. You see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. How about Mostert there, P6, Reynolds, as well as Aaron Love, Cam Waters rounding out the top 10. Winterbottom, your point leader, in the 11th position. LeBlanc, the standout, I would say, one of the Bathurst winners, down in P18. Cameron Hill, one of your Topo winners, at the bottom of the grid. So we're coming into race 2 and qualifying 2 kind of with the mindset of, okay, we've learned, we made mistakes in race 1, we continue to learn as a rookie. That's the big thing. We're a rookie. We're not out here looking for a championship in our first season of Supercars. My goal is quite simple. Win one race is the goal, and then find consistency. We have yet to find the consistency. This is my fastest lap in qualifying 2. We qualified 3rd in that first race. What is it going to be here in race 2? Currently late in the session, Kostecki, after winning race 1, is at the top of the board over Heimgartner, actually, as we exit the final turn, heading down this front straightaway. What is it going to be? Now crossing the line, and it's actually P1. We go top of the board, but it wouldn't last. We would drop again to 3rd, so we will start 3rd again. Cam Waters, Brock Feeney go faster. So Waters on pole for the 2nd time this season. Kostecki row 2 with us in 4th. Will Brown, P19, Jay Cook, P15, the 2 standouts going into race number 2.
Okay, we learned a lot yesterday. Let's correct our issues today.
You hear our race engineer, James Small, now as we once again will start from P3 on the grid. Row 2, it's lights out. We're racing in a little bit better of a start compared to race 1. A good start there for Kostecki. He closes in on the front 2. Macaulay Jones qualified in the top 5. How about that? Randall just behind him. Davison Heimgartner 7th, 8th. Now Brock Feeney to the lead, to the point on the exit of turn 1. Pole position hasn't been the place to start today. Both pole winners went down to P2 in both races on the exit of the first corner. We stay in P3 now, as you can see all the way in the background. There's Will Davison, Andre Heimgartner there side by side. LeBrock trying to make some headway now. Jay Cook, of course, our teammate, trying to go forward, and same for Will Brown now as he's side by side with David Reynolds and nearly off the track, and Deep Pasquale all the way at the bottom of the grid. But we are going to settle in here into that 3rd position, and we'll quite simply see what we can do. A big run right here on Cam Waters in that Monster Energy Ford Mustang, and look at the lead. Brock Feeney is pulled out for that Red Bull team now up the inside of the Monster Energy car. Now on the exit of the final turn, though, ahead stays Cam Waters in 2nd place. Cam Waters has had a lot of speed this season in just 2 episodes, of course, 4 races, but he has had some speed. He just hasn't quite had enough to put these races together. They've kind of fumbled on strategy a lot, and he and Feeney would open up the gap a little bit to me. I got Kostecki about a second behind. You look at the field towards the bottom left side of the screen, and you can see we have filled the tank completely coming into this race. So in the pit stop that we do make, we will only have to take a little bit of fuel, and we can get back out on the racetrack. So we are going to spend a significant less amount of time, because I realized that even with a lighter car in race 1, we just couldn't open up a gap. We couldn't gain what we needed to gain to make up the difference for the time we spent in the pit lane. So we learned today, and I think we've learned that for going to just about any track as well, if we find ourselves in a situation like that here. 25 laps again as well in race 2 for Perth, and we continue to run P3. But look at this, Cam Waters putting a lot of pressure on the back of Brock Feeney. We are driving away. It's turning into a bit of a 3-car breakaway right now, and there's a group of 2 behind us. Kostecki and Randall, who are pretty close, and he got Monster and Macaulay Jones there. P6, P7, Heimgartner, P8. But look at this battle for the lead. Cam Waters going for it, but on the run towards the final turn, and you can see Feeney doesn't give Waters a lot of room, keeps him behind now as we exit the final turn. These 2 battling is bringing me into the mix now. Waters is quite a bit faster than Feeney, and now as we start lap 10 already, and it's been a pretty calm race, which is why we've been able to get through these laps so quick. But look at this, through turn 1 around the outside goes Waters. He wants the lead of this race here in Perth. Feeney, 1 win on the season so far. They continue wheel to wheel through the left-hander, and I think this is going to go in the direction of Cam Waters. They're still side by side, but hold on, he's clear. Feeney tries to send one up the inside through the right-hander. Not enough. Waters has the momentum. Cam Waters to the lead in race number 2 in Perth. Feeney down to 2nd, myself P3 watching the show, but Brock Feeney just seems to be losing a bit of pace here. He had a great start in the first handful of laps, he was great, but Cam Waters has really put on the pressure, and you can see that I think it's looking like, sure enough, that Feeney just doesn't have the pace he needs right now. Thomas Randall into the pits here, so he's going to have to spend some time in the pit lane again, pitting this early, but we are now all over the back of Feeney, but to the pits. Lap 12 just starting, and Cam Waters is pitting at about the halfway point here in this Perth SuperSprint Race 2. That is an interesting one, so pitting that early, we know exactly what that means. He is going to spend a prolonged amount of time in the pit lane. He goes to 111 liters of fuel in the car, so but what, 105 liters into that car right there. So I don't like that call, as we're already lapping Richie Stanaway. He is a lap down because he's already pitted. I'm surprised we haven't seen any accidents this weekend. I do a bunch of testing of the tracks before I actually record them for an episode, and there was quite a few incidents in my testing but they weren't happening in the races here. But we are certainly keeping Brock Feeney on his toes. We are all over him, putting some pressure, and now as we come to lap 15, 11 to go, we have a run looking up the inside of Feeney into turn 1, braking a little bit earlier there, and that keeps him ahead now. Is actually block up a little bit on the right front into turn 1, but this battle continues with Feeney. He protects to the right side. We go to the left side. We're wheel to wheel down towards this downhill elevation, going way wide, nearly off track, but we barely keep it on, and we settle into P2. But a lot of cars in front of us, we're going to be running down. There's pit stops happening, and you can see a group of cars up there. So my goal is simple. We know we have to pit. We only have to take a little bit of fuel. So once Feeney and myself get closer or close enough to that group of cars, we're going to dive into the pit lane so we don't hopefully have to deal with any of that traffic. But you can see just trying to stay with Feeney now and put some pressure on him. And here we go again, looking for a move on this long backstretch towards the final turn. You can see some side-by-side action up there in front of us now, but we continue to just struggle to get past Feeney. Now we settle in again in second place. Waters right now P6, but now is our calling to come into the pit lane. End of lap 18, coming to lap 19. You saw a lot of traffic up there, so we're going to come into the pits here from P2, and we currently have 34 liters in the car. Once again, we're taking no tires, just like last race, but we're putting about 20 liters in, so we have about 55 liters or so of fuel in the car, 54 to be exact. Kostecki behind me pits, he goes to 58 liters, a few extra, and we come out just in front of him. Actually a big gain in the pits from Kostecki on myself here, but Cam Waters is nowhere to be seen. He had to take so much fuel by pitting early, and again Waters is going to throw away a potential race victory. But now Feeney, when is he going to come in? We got just over 2 seconds to Kostecki. Feeney will pit at the end of lap 19, so he only runs one extra lap compared to myself. He comes in, and now it's about putting together the best lap we can. We know when he comes out, he's going to have cold tires, and he was already exiting. Look at the track map. You see the car in turn 1. You see my red arrow. You see the next blue arrow. That's Feeney. He's already out of turn 1. Well, when we pitted, we were right on the back of him. We open up a major gap to Kostecki in one lap, 5 seconds ahead. Clearly, it's a two-horse kind of race here. Feeney, myself. Now, we are on attack on this lap. Feeney on cold tires. We are putting that to our advantage, and we were cutting the gap down. 3.4 seconds as we come towards the end of the lap. Through to the line, and now it's only a 2-second gap to Feeney, and we ran a 57-second lap and actually put up the fastest lap of the day with a 57.255. How about that? As we continue to reel in Brock Feeney, now 5 laps to go in race 2, and finally we have put the race together to give ourselves a chance to find victory. Now we've avoided mistakes so far. We kept the strategy into a area that we got it right, and we didn't give ourselves a chance to screw it up. And now, coming to 3 laps to go, we are within striking distance of winning our first race in Supercars, joining our rookie teammate Jay Cook. Of course, by getting a win this season and getting Trackhouse a second win would be pretty awesome. Now, we've had our ups and downs already in our very short career, and you see Waters right there, 4th place behind Kostecki. Brody Kostecki, talk about a turnaround on a season for him this weekend in Perth. Chaz Mostert in the top 5 as well. Will Davison runs P6. 7th is Ryan Wood. Great run for Ryan Wood. 8th is David Reynolds. A nice turnaround for him. Jack LeBrock has worked his way forward in 10th place right now. Will Brown, of course, Brock Feeney's teammate. And then you got Aaron Love, Jay Cook, 11th, 12th, 13th for Thomas Randall. Heimgartner's really dropped down the order. Earlier he was running 8th. He did pit, I think, kind of early, so he had to spend more time in the pit lane, so it makes sense. As you see, Anton De Pasquale, he started all the way at the back, and he has gone forward, but obviously still having a pretty rough day, and Richie Stanaway having the worst of anybody, as he is back on the lead lap, but he's probably going to lose that lap again before this race is over.
Keep that pressure on him.
I'm trying, James, believe me. I'm trying to put that pressure on Feeney, but he's doing a really good job. We were able to get within that 1 second range, but once I got within a second, he just kind of upped up his pace, and I didn't quite have much more. My tires are struggling, and Feeney is now pulling away. 1.1, 1.2 second range, and there is going to be that car of Stanaway. It's going to be a lap car that might play a role. Final lap underway here in Perth. No matter what happens now, what a turnaround weekend here in Perth. We've kind of, it felt like we grew up in race 2 after making the silly mistake at the end of race 1, spinning ourselves out on the start of the final lap, and as well making that strategy error error. Now we've really turned a corner in literally just one race, and now Feeney, unfortunately for me, is going to get past Stanaway, and that's going to do it. I just don't have enough pace, and now I wonder if I should have taken a new set of tires. Bit of a slide there from the rears, nearly making the same mistake we did in race 1, but that's going to be it. Not going to be enough through the final turn. It's still a career high. What a day in Perth. Brock Feeney, win number 2 on the season. We come through to cross the line for second place. We'll take it. And it's going to be Brody Kostecki coming home in third, holding off a hard-charging Cam Waters right at the end of this race. And what could have been for Cam Waters if they got the strategy right? Mostert rounds out the top 5 as you see the rest of the cars coming to the line, and it would end up being inside the top 10. Davison, Reynolds, Wood, LeBlanc, and Brown. Jay Cook, P12, just behind Aaron Love. So nice to beat our Trackhouse teammate there as you see Cameron Hill down in P17, and Winter bottom, Macaulay Jones running at the top 20, but all the way towards the bottom of the grid there, one lap down, Richie Stanaway with Matt Payne, Tim Slade just in front of him. Now as we look at the point standings, and Winterbottom gives up the lead to Brock Feeney, 639 points, 4 top 10s on the season for Brock Feeney. Cook there runs P4 for Trackhouse. Kostecki, catapults his first 2 top 10s of the season. First win, he's already now into the top 5 in the standings. We go forward as well. We're now to P12. Pretty happy with that one. And towards the bottom of the point standings, we got Randall, Payne, and Percat. Thomas Randall having a rough season. Just 2 drivers without a top 10 so far as well this season. That's Payne and Percat. That's going to wrap it up though for this episode of Supercars, and next episode we will be headed to Hidden Valley. 2 races, should be about 22 laps apiece. An exciting one on the way for our 4th weekend of our Supercars career. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.